The year is 1998. You're sitting down, watching the Fox Kids network. X-Men the animated series just ended last year, and you're in need for some new animated Marvel content. And all of a sudden, it's right there before you. A new show about the Silver Surfer. Okay? But little do you know that you're in store for a grandiose space opera influenced by sci-fi stories of the past, featuring some Marvel characters that will become very popular in the next 20 years. So let's talk about it. I stumbled across the Silver Surfer TV show just scrolling through Disney Plus, and you're probably wondering the same thing I did. What's so special about this guy that he warrants his own TV show? I mean, I've seen the 2007 movie Fantastic Four: Rise of the Silver Surfer, but a whole TV show? And there's only one season of it. That's interesting. So let me break down the one and only season of Silver Surfer. We start on the planet of Zenn-la, a very peaceful community, home of some of the smartest minds in the universe who strive towards science and building a better life for everyone and sharing their technologies and lessons of peace. Let's meet some of our main characters. We have our main guy, Norrin Radd. We have his love interest, shalla-bal. And we have the leader of Zenn-la, just known as Master. Today on Zenn-la, Master is teaching two very special people how to get along. The Kree and the Skrull. The Kree and the Skrull hate each other and have been warring for ages, and Master's finally going to attempt to bring some peace between the two of them. As we'll learn in future episodes, both of these people are pretty bad. Kree being slave owners who, use slave labor to advance their technologies, and Skrull just being very barbaric and animalistic, I guess. And how can I forget that this whole thing is being narrated by the Watcher. Now, if you're familiar with Marvel, the Watcher sees over everything, and it is his duty and vow not to intervene with anything, but only observe. The first 6 minutes into the first episode of this TV show, he intervenes. He says, "Hey guys, just so you're aware, there's this dude named Galactus, and he's coming to eat your planet." And so we get Galactus. You've probably noticed that Galactus over here is CG animated, while everyone else is hand-drawn. This is because it was the late 90s. Only Galactus and a few spaceships are CG animated, while everyone else is 2D hand-drawn, which creates sort of a fun contrast, but the CG really did not age well, especially on Galactus. And so our problem begins. The whole planet of Zenn-la is about to be eaten by Galactus. Now, he is impartial. He does not have any ethics or morals. He just eats planets no matter who's on them. If there's good people on the planet, if there's bad people on the planet, if there's no people on the planet, he'll just eat it because he's a big boy who needs lots of energy. Of course, Norrin does not want his planet to be eaten and lose the love of his life, shalla-bal. So he's like, "I'm going to make a deal with Galactus." And they're like, "Well, what possibly could you offer Galactus? He's a huge guy who eats planets." And Norrin is like, "Well, Galactus, let me tell you. I will be your herald. I will go out and scope out planets for you and pick which ones to eat. So you're not left wondering, when's my next meal? Where's my next meal? By the time you finish eating a planet, I'll have already picked out the next one, and you can just go to it." And then Galactus is like, "You know what? That sounds like a pretty nice deal." But secretly, Norrin is like, "I'll only pick planets that don't have life on it or intelligent life. And so therefore, I'm minimizing a bunch of deaths." Galactus is like, "All right, bet, let me give you some power known as the power cosmic." And he gives Norrin the power to not need to eat, not need to sleep, not need to drink, and he can breathe in space, and he can just wander and find the planets that he needs to. This turns him into, drumroll please, the Silver Surfer. But when Galactus turns Norrin into the Silver Surfer, Norrin's memories are wiped, so he doesn't remember that he'll only pick out planets with unintelligent life. He's just now the Silver Surfer who works for Galactus, and he's going to find a bunch of planets, and his whole plan is sort of ruined because now he has to leave Zenn-la, leave shalla-bal, leave Master the Kree and the Skrull, and just go do his own thing and work for Galactus. That pretty much brings us to the end of episode 1. Well, sorry to interrupt you, I just couldn't help but notice that we're at 1,900 subscribers, which is absolutely crazy. Thank you all for your continued support, but all I gotta say now is, let's hit 2K. Let's reach 2,000. That would be absolutely amazing. So if you're enjoying the video, please subscribe. And enough of me talking. Let's see what happens next. By the start of episode 2, the Silver Surfer has been doing his thing for a while now. He doesn't remember any memories of Zenn-la, of shalla-bal, of his normal life as Norrin Radd. He is only the Silver Surfer, and he works for Galactus, and he's picking out planets. When one day, here's a familiar face you guys might know. Thanos shows up. And Thanos wants to be the biggest baddie in the universe. Well, currently Galactus is the biggest baddie, and so Thanos doesn't like that. And Thanos wants to defeat Galactus, and, you know, who knows a lot about Galactus? The Silver Surfer. So Thanos is like, if I can get through the Silver Surfer, I can get to Galactus. And so Thanos uses his power energy beam, it's not really explained. Infinity Stones are never mentioned. I don't know if he already has all of them or if he just has magical power, but somehow he creates a nova and he sends Silver Surfer over to, drumroll please, this is going to be another familiar face, he sends Silver Surfer over to Ego, the living planet, which you might remember was the main villain in Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2. And the Silver Surfer is like, oh my gosh, who could be so powerful to create a nova that sends me all the way over to this planet? What is this planet? The planet, you know, is alive and tries to hurt him and whatever. And he realizes, oh, this planet is alive and his name is Ego. But by the end of the episode, him and Ego are kind of friendly now, and Ego reveals to him his hidden memories that Galactus sort of hid away. And so now Silver Surfer remembers that he is Norrin Radd, he does remember shalla-bal, and he does remember the promise that he made to himself to only pick out unintelligent life planets for Galactus to eat. And episode 2 ends with the cliffhanger of Galactus finding a new planet to eat, a little planet called Earth. So as Galactus is getting ready to eat Earth, Silver Surfer's like, excuse me, Galactus, I remember my memories you locked away from me now, and you're really mean. How could you do this? I don't really want to work for you anymore. But Galactus is like, too late, I'm already eating this planet with a bunch of intelligent life on it. Speaking of intelligent life on Earth we meet really cool surfer skater girl, Frankie Ray. I'll put her over here. And Frankie is just literally an average girl, somewhere between a teenager and college age. It's not very specified, but she's young, she's hip. She basically has the exact same personality of Jubilee from X-Men. And yeah, Earth is getting destroyed by Galactus. She's just hanging out on the beach. She's trying to save people from like a tsunami coming in. Things are getting pretty crazy when all of a sudden, for whatever reason, Frankie has the power to be at the right place at the right time to find whatever she wants. That's all that's explained about it. She is somehow transported up to Galactus's ship, and Galactus is like, hey, the Silver Surfer guy doesn't like me anymore. I'm going to give you some powers too, and you're going to be my new herald. And then Frankie's just like, all right, bet. Now Frankie is Nova. Frankie's now Nova. Galactus's new herald taking the place of Silver Surfer. Galactus is like, Silver Surfer, you're fired. You know, you can have your freedom. Just don't ever talk to me again. Don't bother me. Yeah. And also, Galactus ends up sparing Earth through whatever conversation, friendship is magic sort of thing happens, deal that they make. Earth is spared. Frankie is now Nova, who is now the new herald. Silver Surfer can just be on his own and do whatever he wants, which is find Zenn-la and reunite with his love, shalla-bal. And that ends the 3-episode origin story of the Silver Surfer. In 3 episodes, he gets his powers, he gets his memory back, and he gets his freedom from Galactus. Pretty much skipping the entire time he was the Herald for Galactus and just visited different planets that he killed. And now we just skip to right when he has his freedom. As we move into episode 4, let me rearrange the wall for a second. Okay, now that the origin story is done, I rearranged the wall a little bit. Over here will be whoever's in the episode. Over here is the people on Zenn-la, that being Master and Shalla-bal. Over here is just a random collection of characters who might come into play later. And then we have our big bad Galactus, his Herald Nova, and then the one who sees all, the Watcher. Okay, let's get into episode 4. Episode 4, the Silver Surfer finds himself on this planet where a bunch of people are being kept as slaves, specifically trolls. This is where we meet Pip the Troll, who you might remember from the post-credits scene of Eternals, where he's voiced by Patton Oswalt, and then he introduces Harry Styles. But we also have Pip's girlfriend, Keely. Keely's not that important, but she does show up one other time in the rest of the season, so I just thought I'd put her picture up here. So Pip and Keely are slaves, and Silver Surfer's like, oh my gosh, who could have done this? Of course, it's the Kree keeping them as slaves. So the Kree are keeping the trolls as slaves, and the trolls are mining the certain mineral that the Kree use to turn into a collar to keep people as slaves. So basically, they're mining their own, shackles for themselves, which is pretty messed up, and why we don't like the Kree, because they are slave owners. Now you might be asking yourself, why is Silver Surfer on this planet in the first place? It's because the Kree have a supercomputer that he can use to find where Zenn-la is, because once the Silver Surfer joined up with Galactus moved Zenn-la from where it was, and he basically hid it. So now Silver Surfer needs to find it in order to find shalla-bal, his true love. In the process of trying to get to this supercomputer and whatnot, he ends up freeing the slaves, so Pip and Keely are now free, and he gets the supercomputer. Here's where it gets pretty confusing, and I myself didn't completely understand it, but it turns out somehow that Master is like inside the supercomputer, like his consciousness is inside there or whatever, and he basically can't give Silver Surfer information about where shalla-bal is for whatever reason. And he's like, you know what, the computer is going to explode. And so basically, for whatever reason, the computer explodes. Now Master is dead. Hold on. We'll put him back over here. So the supercomputer explodes, Master dies, the slaves are free, and Silver Surfer still has no lead on where Zenn-la is. And that's the end of episode 4. Also, Pip is like, hey, Silver Surfer, let me just leave my girlfriend and join you on your adventures instead. So now Silver Surfer and Pip are together, hanging out, surfing across the universe, while Pip leaves Keely behind for whatever reason. Episode 5 and 6 are a 2-parter about the Silver Surfer trying to find the Eternal Library, which, back in the day, the Watchers used to be their own civilization. There used to be more than one Watcher. They had their own civilization. They watched everything, kept track of it, and thus created the Eternal Library, which has all the information in the universe, in which Silver Surfer could use to find Zenn-la. But there's more than one person who wants to find the Eternal Library, and these are some really familiar faces. On one team, we have Mentor. Yes, there's a person called Master and a person called Mentor, and they both look extremely similar. But Mentor is working with none other than Drax. You might recognize him from Guardians of the Galaxy, but Drax in the Silver Surfer TV show is way different than he is in the movies, because he's actually a robot. He can, fly in space and breathe in space and, lift up his face, and it's like a robot underneath. And so Drax is a robot for whatever reason. Him and Mentor are working together to find the Eternal Library. But you know who else is trying to find the Eternal Library? A little someone named Nebula. Of course, yes, it's the Nebula you might recognize in the MCU. She's pretty much the same. You could say she's still a cyborg. She's still blue. And she's sort of a bad guy, at least at the beginning here. And so Silver Surfer and Pip actually join up with Mentor and Drax, and the four of them work together to find the Eternal Library before Nebula and her crew of bad guys can. This is a perfect time to say, and throughout every single episode, there is a lot of the Silver Surfer just talking to himself, and either voiceover or just out loud to himself. This episode specifically, there's like a whole minute, like 60 seconds long, of the Silver Surfer talking about how much pain he's in and about how his powers are useless or whatever because he gets trapped in whatever. And it just goes on for so long, and he uses such like academic language to describe the state that he's currently in. And this happens every episode, which I think is funny, and I'll probably show a clip here.
Know how to fight this. My very essence seems to be slipping away.
Instead of extinguishing the tumor, Drax blasts are causing it to grow. The boys, he gets to devour energy from any source. Like Galactus, it always demands more.
Which brings us to episode 6, which is a continuation of episode 5. They're all looking for the Eternal Library. At the very beginning of the episode, Mentor reveals that he's actually Thanos' brother. This never gets brought up again. These two never interact with each other. It basically is just random information, but yeah, he's technically Thanos' brother, according to him. All of them arrive to where the Eternal Library should be, but guess what? It's not there. Basically, the civilization of Watchers that once was there is now a planet that's overrun by these green, gooey monsters who will try and eat all of them. And the Watcher shows up and he's like, hey guys, this used to be my home civilization. But we tried to create a whatever, we were so smart that we ended up turning ourselves into goo. So these green goo monsters are actually previous Watchers. I'm the only one who survived. Don't get eaten by them, LOL. The Eternal Library doesn't exist. Get trolled. Meanwhile, completely separately, there's this guy named Lord Glenn. He was technically introduced in an earlier episode, but he wasn't worth note. He's from one of the planets that Galactus ate, that Silver Surfer led him to back when Silver Surfer was working with Galactus. There's Lord Glenn, and you'll never guess who starts working with Lord Glenn. It's Gamora.
I am Gamora.
I'm sorry, say that one more time?
I am Gamora.
Now, hold on, let me put on subtitles.
I am Gamora.
Okay, so it's spelled Gamora, but in this entire TV show, she refers to herself and other people refer to her as Gamora. So I guess this is Gamora. Lord Glenn goes up to Gamora and is like, hey, Galactus ate my planet. And then she's like, yeah, Galactus ate my planet too. Welcome to the Wanderers. Now, the Wanderers are a group of people whose planet have all been eaten by Galactus. So basically, if your planet was eaten by Galactus and you still live, you join the Wanderers. And Gamora is the leader of the Wanderers. And so Lord Glenn just joins up with her. And their goal is to get revenge on Galactus and also the Silver Surfer, because the Silver Surfer led Galactus to their planets. And so the Wanderers hate them both. Cut back to the Eternal Library. Green goo is all over the place. They're in danger. They need to get out. But uh-oh. Some of our friends are caught by the green goo. This being Nebula and Mentor. Nebula and Mentor are basically dead now. They just get turned into green goo, and they're never seen again, so I'm just going to assume that they're dead. Which is really interesting because you have Thanos here, you have just introduced Gamora, and now you kill off Nebula, which we're used to in the MCU, the three of them being a family unit. But they're not, I don't think, in this version, because Gamora clearly states that her planet was destroyed by Galactus, and then she's a lone wanderer who, joined the Wanderers, because in the MCU, Gamora's planet was destroyed by Thanos. Now her planet is destroyed by Galactus, therefore there's no real reason for any of the three of them to be connected. So in this version, I guess Nebula, Gamora, and Thanos are just three random strangers, and now Nebula is dead. Along with Mentor, but no one really cared about him. Now we're at episode 7, where after the events of last episode, Drax and Pip actually team up and go their own way, away from the Silver Surfer. So they're just together now, and Silver Surfer is just chilling by himself again. Silver Surfer goes to a planet named Harmony because it has some dream device that he can use to locate, you guessed it, Zenn-la, so he can be reunited with Shalla-bal, his one true love. But guess what? Guess who's also coming to Harmony? Thanos, baby. Thanos also ends up at the planet Harmony because he just wants to destroy the planet, I guess, because Silver Surfer's there. Basically, Thanos' whole thing is that he wants to please Lady Chaos. Now, if you're familiar with the comics, you're like, wait, isn't it Lady Death? Yes, in the comics, Thanos really wants to please Lady Death, but since this is Fox Kids, they had to change it to Lady Chaos, who's just a rock, or like a statue, who just sits in Thanos' ship. It's never clear if that is just a statue of the person he's in love with, or it is quite literally the person he is in love with who has been turned into a rock. And so he just talks to it and is like, I'm gonna please you, baby, by destroying this entire planet. So yeah, that's Thanos' entire motivation, is just to woo over Lady Chaos, who's a rock. And over on Planet Harmony, we see a familiar face if you know the comics. Beta Ray Bill. He wields Mjolnir, but that's never brought up. He's just a guy on the planet. Basically, everyone on Planet Harmony is asleep because of this device called the Dreamweaver. The planet itself is kind of in ruins, everything sucks, and so everyone uses the Dreamweaver to fall asleep, and in the dream world, their life is great, and they're happy, and they have no worries. It's essentially the Matrix, to where they just put their bodies in the Matrix and they live much better lives. And the Silver Surfer was like, hey, you guys should break out of this dream because, like, you know, Thanos is coming and, like, you know, it's not very healthy just to live your life as a dream. This is actually one of my favorite episodes because of this sort of philosophical question of the Matrix, of, like, would you rather live in this virtual reality world where everything is fake but, like, everything's good and you're happy, or would you rather live in the real world and, you know, kind of everything sucks? So Silver Surfer convinces everyone to wake up, come back to the real world, you know, the universe needs them. And so once everyone's awake, they use this dream machine to trick Thanos into thinking that he had already destroyed the planet, and so he just leaves. But little does Thanos know, it was just all a dream. And now Beta Ray Bill never shows up again. Which brings us to episode 8, which is actually one of my favorite episodes. It's where Nova goes to Silver Surfer and it's like, hey, Galactus is sick. And since Galactus's powers are running through us, if Galactus dies, then both of us die. So we need to save Galactus, which is already like a philosophical question of like, well, should we just kill Galactus? Because if we sacrifice ourselves, then no one else has to die from him eating planets. But of course, if that happened, then the show would end because Silver Surfer would be dead, and that can't happen. So they gotta save Galactus. Basically, what happened was Galactus ate a planet, which basically gave him food poisoning, basically, and now there's like this, you know, bad guy stuck in his spine, which Silver Surfer has to go inside of Galactus via Mario and Luigi Inside Bowser's Story, or whatever it's called. Silver Surfer has to go inside Galactus, fight this virus inside of him, and save Galactus. Meanwhile, guess who shows up? It's the Wanderers. And the Wanderers are like, hey, Galactus is sick, now's our time to strike and kill Galactus. So Nova, on the outside, has to fight off the Wanderers, while Silver Surfer on the inside has to fight off the virus. And I totally forgot to mention, but when Frankie Ray became Nova, for some reason Galactus just let her keep all of her memories, so this whole time she's still talking like a teenage Californian girl, which I find very funny. So Nova is able to fend off the Wanderers, Silver Surfer is able to kill off the virus, so Galactus remains nice and healthy, and that's the episode. I forgot to mention the most crucial part. As Silver Surfer said, hey, if I help you, Galactus, you need to tell me where Zenn-la is so I can go to my beloved shalla-bal. And so once Silver Surfer saves Galactus, he's like, okay, now tell me where Zenn-la is. And then Galactus is like, LOL, actually, I kicked it so far into space, not even I know where it is. So good luck finding it. I don't know where it is. I got rid of it so bad. And so Silver Surfer's like, oh, okay, this again. Here we go, episode 9. Episode 9 Nova and Silver Surfer are hanging out. And remember how I mentioned that Frankie has this power just to be at the right place at the right time and find whatever she wants? Basically, Silver Surfer is like, hey, could you use that power to find me Zenn-la? And she's like, all right, bet. And then so she finds this planet, which she thinks is Zenn-la. But in a twist, it's not Zenn-la. It's actually called Skolos, the planet of the Skrull. And this is where all the Skrull are born, being hatched out of eggs. It's like their main home planet nest. The Skrull are like, hey, Silver Surfer, we need you to help us because we have this egg that will hatch to become our next queen, and these bad guys want to take the queen egg away from us. And Silver Surfer is like, well, it's not my job to intervene in universal affairs. But then there's like, please. And so, of course, he helps them get the egg, save the egg from the bad guys. So Silver Surfer has the egg, and he runs away from the bad guys. But the bad guys actually capture Nova. And then they're like, the bad guys are like, hey, we'll give you Nova back if you give us back the egg. And so Silver Surfer's like, all right, bet. And so they make the trade, and now Nova is back safe. But you must be like, what? Silver Surfer didn't just give the bad guy what they wanted. No, it was a fake out because Silver Surfer gave the real egg to Keely, if you remember her, Pip's girlfriend. This is the one and only other time she shows up. She takes the egg, and then Silver Surfer just gives them a fake egg. And that's that. One thing about this episode that never gets resolved is that Nova is absolutely certain that they are on Zenn-la. She's like, my powers are telling me that this is Zenn-la, and then it's just not Zenn-la. And the whole time Silver Surfer is like, well, this looks sort of familiar, but it's not Zenn-la, because obviously it's the Skrull world. And that just never gets mentioned again about how Nova's just wrong about this being Zenn-la, even though her powers tell her that it is. Never gets brought up again. Now we're on episode 10. We're in the home stretch now. Silver Surfer's still on the hunt for Zenn-la and his beloved shalla-bal, when all of a sudden, here come the Wanderers, Lord Glenn and Gamora, and they capture the Silver Surfer. They're like, we finally got him, and now we're gonna put him on trial for his crimes. Because they're like, well, we can't just execute him, that would be murder, so he has to have a fair and just trial where, you know, he has a lawyer, representative, and whatnot. And so they do. The Silver Surfer goes on trial and is like, hey, I was just following orders, if you know what I mean. It's a real reference to maybe something that happened in real life. But they're like, no, we don't buy that. You killed hundreds of worlds, or not hundreds, they never say a number. But they're like, you killed a bunch of worlds, and you killed all of our people. So you helped Galactus. We're gonna sentence you to death now. And so the Wanderers send Silver Surfer down to a planet that's like filled with a bunch of weapons and stuff that shoot at him, and it's gonna kill him. Through trying to execute the Silver Surfer, the Wanderers accidentally create a black hole. And who can save the Wanderers from a black hole? None other than the Silver Surfer. So the Silver Surfer saves the Wanderers and is like, hey, I know you tried to kill me, but I just saved you, so are we chill now? And the Wanderer's like, yeah, you saved us from a black hole, we're chill now. And so now the Wanderers are actually more or less an ally to the Silver Surfer. Episode 11. You might be like, wait, if there's only 13 episodes, and there's still a lot of unconcluded stuff, how are they going to fit everything into the next 3 episodes? That's a good question. Just keep watching. Episode 11 starts with a Kree general, Koval getting sucked into some space anomaly. So this Kree general goes missing, and all of a sudden the Silver Surfer comes to the Kree and is like, look, I want to talk to the Kree Supremer, because the Kree Supremer is you guessed it, the entire leader of the Kree, and knows a bunch of things. So maybe the Kree Supremer knows where Zenn-la is and where his beloved shalla-bal is. And so he goes to the Kree, and they're like, okay, we'll let you talk to the Kree Supremer, but first you gotta get our general back from the space anomaly. And the Silver Surfer's like, okay, bet, I'll go inside the space anomaly and see what's up. The Silver Surfer goes inside the space anomaly, and you'll never guess who he finds inside. It's Adam Warlock. You might recognize from, it's Adam Warlock. So he goes inside the space anomaly to where he finds Adam Warlock. And inside the space anomaly is basically Adam Warlock blowing up a bunch of ships over and over again, almost in a time loop. And the Silver Surfer is like, hey, Adam Warlock, I'll help you fight these ships. And then they do, but then the whole thing resets, and yeah, it's a time loop. But the Silver Surfer and Adam Warlock find the Kree General, and they break out of the time loop. They return the Kree General to the Kree, and they're like, okay, take us to your leader, so your leader can tell us where Zenn-la is, and I can reunite with my shalla-bal. And so Silver Surfer and Adam Warlock go to the Kree Supremer, but the Kree Supremer is like, get trolled, I just want Adam Warlock because his DNA lets me live forever, and I want to take and steal Adam Warlock now. And they're like, that's not going to happen. So they dip out of there, they flee, and Adam Warlock is like, I was pretty happy inside that time loop, so let me just go back in, to where he does, and he's never seen again. That is right. There are 2 episodes left, and Silver Surfer still knows nothing about the location of Zenn-la and where his beloved shalla-bal is. Now, I forgot to mention a little piece of information. Sometimes the episodes end on a little teaser of 2 people, one named Eternity and his sister, Infinity. And Infinity and Eternity talk to each other and are like, uh-oh, this big threat is coming to the universe. We know just the guy who can save it. So that's been teased quite a few times already, but I just thought it's coming up soon, so might as well bring them in. A big threat is coming, and only Silver Surfer can save it. That brings us to episode 12. Episode 12 starts with Silver Surfer receiving a distress call from a planet. He goes down, and the planet is covered in these things called fractites, which is basically, like crystal or like ice freezing over everything. Silver Surfer gets rid of the fractites on the planet, and he realizes, wait a minute, this is Zenn-la. I'm home. I found Zenn-la just through random chance of this distress call. And so he meets back up with shalla-bal, finally. And the 2 of them have a nice little reunion, and he has to break the news to everyone that Master died. Remember that from all that while ago? And so they're like, I'm finally back, I'm free, and this is when he gives up his powers and becomes Norrin Radd again. That'll have to do. He becomes Norrin Radd again, and then everyone lives in harmony when, uh-oh, something happens, and he accidentally realizes, wait a minute, I still have my Silver Surfer powers. What's going on here? Uh-oh, the entire thing was all an illusion. He's still the Silver Surfer. Shalla-bal was just an illusion, and it turns out he's not on Zenn-la. He's on Ego. Again, he finds himself on the planet Ego. This is all fake. Ego was just like, yeah, I needed you to come save me from the fractites. I'm sorry, I was gonna die, but thank you for saving me. And I tried to make Zenn-la, but obviously, you saw through it. I'm sorry. And so now that brings us 1 episode left. Still no clue on where Zenn-la or shalla-bal is, but guess what? Episode 12 ends on a little cliffhanger. Thanos is like, hey, all of a sudden I have this machine that can reverse time, so yeah, I'm gonna use that in the final episode now. Which brings us to episode 13, the finale. Episode 13 picks up with Drax and Pip. Remember them? They were off doing their own thing together, but they get stuck in Thanos' time loop thing. Thanos has created a machine that reverses time, and he wants to reverse time all the way back to where nothing existed, to where it's just him and Lady Chaos happily living ever after. So they're stuck in the time loop, and guess what? The Watcher breaks his promise again and interferes with the life of the universe. And so the Watcher brings the Silver Surfer to Eternity and Infinity, and they're like, hey, Thanos has this thing, this machine that can reverse time. We need you to stop him. Can you do that for us? And Silver Surfer's like, I bet. Silver Surfer needs to stop Thanos and this time machine, and so he goes to the most powerful person he knows, aka Galactus. Also Nova's there, because, yeah. And so he's like, hey, Galactus, can you stop this, time machine thing that Thanos is doing? Because I know you're really powerful. But guess what? Uh-oh, it's too late. Galactus is already stuck in the time loop. And basically he's like saying the same things over and over again in reverse and whatnot. And then Nova's like, oh, I'll help you. But then Nova also gets trapped in it. This segment of the episode goes on for way too long to where it's like, there's only so many minutes left of the episode. When are you going to wrap things up? Because, you know, you're just still talking to Galactus and nothing is happening. So Galactus and Nova are no help to the Silver Surfer. Now the Silver Surfer is all alone. But if you remember, maybe some of the friends he made along the way. He is now friends with the Wanderers. He saved them from the black hole. Maybe he can have their help. Maybe Adam Warlock he befriended. Maybe he can ask him for help. Maybe Keeley. Maybe the Skrull, since he saved their egg. Maybe Beta Ray Bill. Maybe Ego. They're all friends. And he's all helped all of these people. But guess what? He just goes to fight Thanos all alone. Never asking for help. And he's like, Thanos, I'm here to destroy you. And so he flies into Thanos' ship. There's a big explosion. And then it ends with this.
Haven't a chance?
That's the end of season 1. The end? Question mark. Marvel was really banking on there being a season 2 for this show, being so bold to end on such a cliffhanger, but there never was. A few episodes of season 2 had been written, but it never got made because of legal disputes between Marvel and Saban Entertainment. So yeah, that is the entire story that we have of the Silver Surfer TV show. Even though the story didn't really come together at the end of the season, each episode still has its own very solid story and characters to follow, very interesting philosophical questions, and not to mention the animation, besides the 3D stuff, is actually very beautiful. The backgrounds of space are just amazing and very visually appealing to look at. And now that the X-Men are getting their own reboot on Disney+, maybe it's time for this guy to ride his board once more. And that's the video. Let me know if you've seen the Silver Surfer TV show or watched it as a kid or anything. Let me know if you'd like to see maybe a reboot or continuation of it. If you've never heard of it before, are you interested in watching it now? Also, let me know if you've enjoyed this style of video. It's sort of a new format for me with all these pictures, but if you'd like to see it done again, please let me know. Or if there's any other interesting movie or TV shows you'd like me to cover, leave those in the comments, and I'll see you guys next time.